article a while back now, because when he was Brett, that he found it hard to hold you back in your training sessions. Something I suffer with is probably being a little bit addicted to training. And he said if he ever let you out your sight, you'd do too much. Is that something that you still suffer with, or is Simon quite strict to you as well?
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm an obsessive compulsive, as you know, as many of us are, and I do have trouble taking it easy and learning when my body is tired. But I think it's, as I mature as an athlete, I learn how to read those signals, and I realise that more is not necessarily better. So yeah, it's something that I'm still struggling with, something that I'm, you know, working on, and it's the reason why when I left Brett, I knew that I did need, or one of the reasons I did need another coach. I need someone as much to rein me back, and rather than to push me to work harder.
Has that trait been reflected through your life pre-triathlon? And if so, can you give us any examples of your obsessive nature?
Very much so. I guess, yeah, with my studies, I was very focused, I guess is a positive way of putting it, really focused, really driven. I just wanted to achieve the best grades that I possibly could. And likewise with my job when I worked for the government, the same in the same way. I just wanted to do the best that I could in that. I never want to aspire to mediocrity. I always want to know that I've given something absolutely everything, whether that be a training session or a race or a job or my studies, you know, whatever it might be. So yeah, I do have a tendency to do too much rather than too little.
Chap in the front.
London Triathlon? Probably not, I have to say. I probably won't be in London this year.
Say you don't log the training skills now. When you were age group yourself, you were more restricted with time. And you always like these distances you were doing and logging things down.
No, never been one to log distances. No, not really. I guess maybe I was kilometres in the pool. I did log because the focus was very much on getting my swimming speed up to scratch. So I was doing quite a lot of mileage in the pool. But no, I can't recall like logging it obsessively. No. I mean, I had a programme, as Steve said. I was coached by a guy called Tim Weeks, who set a programme. So in that programme, there'd be, say, a 5K swim or whatever. So if I followed that programme, I knew that I'd done whatever, you know, my allocated K was for that week. But no, I didn't. You know, I didn't log it. I just followed the program I was given, and now I'm never given a 10-mile run. I'm given a time to do rather than a distance.
Don't you ever have any days where you actually wake up and think, ugh, I want to stay in bed? It surely can't be every day thinking, oh, I really want to beast myself, or I'm dying on the floor, so to speak. Yeah, of course, you get good days and you get bad days, but training on those bad days can be just as beneficial, even if you're not as sharp as you might be on a good day. Training on the bad days can often be just as beneficial, if not more, than you know, when you're feeling on fire. But yeah, you get days where you don't want to train as much as people get days when they don't want to go into the office, but you do, and I have that little
seed inside me that knows that every single session that I do is counting towards that wider goal. And that's what drives you forward. I was saying to someone earlier, you know, I want to get the most out of every single session, even if I feel shit, and knowing that that goes towards the bigger goal as well is what motivates me.
Is it harder now to motivate yourself slightly then? Imagine a lot of your contemporaries, rivals, where you think, well, if I miss a session now, there's no way I'll beat Chrissie. Whereas I presume, you know, you haven't really got anyone to have that thought process about.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to rest on my laurels. There's so many great girls coming up to bite me on the arse. You know, you just don't know where the next one of me is going to come from. So I want to be as good as I can be. If I miss a session, then I'm not going to be the strongest athlete I can be. I don't care what everyone else is doing. You know, I'll do the sessions for me to get stronger and for me to get faster. And, you know, I just have to give it 110% all the time for me to achieve that own personal goal.
Chrissie, can you give us some insight as to what it's like to train with a group of world-class athletes? Because I can imagine that it's very positive on the one hand, but there might be a temptation to sort of destroy each other in training day after day.
Yeah, initially when I joined the team, it was a very intimidating environment. I came in as a total newcomer almost to triathlon. I didn't know that much about the sport at all, and I didn't know about the people in the team. And I felt very much like a new girl, and it took me a long time to actually adjust to being in that environment. Probably a good 6 months to a year. On the very positive side, you've always got some great high-class people to train with, and that's really fantastic. They pushed me further and further in each training session, because I wasn't the fastest swimmer, I wasn't the fastest biker, and I wasn't the fastest runner in the group. So there's always someone to push you that little bit harder, and likewise I hope I managed to do that for them. They also taught me a lot about the sport, you know, about the history. You know, I learned a lot from them. You know, even things about, you know, nutrition, I didn't have a clue. And it's only through talking to your peers that you can learn those kind of things. They didn't give me lessons on gas canisters, which is rather unfortunate and would have been much appreciated. But yeah, on the negative side, there's, you know, it can turn into a smash fest every day, and that's where Brett comes in to rein you in, and to set you sessions for you rather than sessions for the whole group. So we'd all be on the track, for example, but myself and Erica Chamor would be doing one time, and Belinda and Hilary, you know, they'd all be repping on different times. So although we're all there together, you've got that camaraderie, it's down to the coach to actually set you the times that fit with your schedule and your program and your abilities. So yeah, he did help to rein in our kind of competitive nature. But I do remember going up, we'd do the hill repeats up and down for an hour. And yeah, you see people up ahead and grinding out a big gear, and it makes you work harder, and it's good. And I owe a lot of my success to, you know, the group dynamic and that environment.
Hi, Chrissie. When you're at the race venue, pre-race, do you socialise with your competitors?
Yes, I do. I mean, yeah, I mean, we don't go out for drinks and beers and food before the race, but we have the carbo party, which I always go to. And yeah, we have a bit of smackdown banter, and it's all good fun. I don't go out my way to avoid everyone. Obviously, I'll see people at the press conference, but it's not like we go out and, you know, have a big social evening before the race. I'll see them, you know, if we're at the swimming pool, you know, doing a training session or something. I'll see them at the carbo party and the press conference. But yeah,
does a smackdown prize? Like, do you drink lots of energy drink and go wild?
Oh, well, yeah, it's sex, drugs and rock and roll. It's all glamour, you know.
But do you have any spells through the season where you do get to just wind down, maybe, you know, have a glass of wine?
November is great. Yeah, obviously recovery after an Ironman is incredibly important. So I don't go out and get hammered after a race because it'll really impair my recovery, but I do like a drink and I have a couple of glasses of wine and I will stay up to the finish line all night and then go to the party afterwards. But November, well, after Hawaii I have a month with very, very reduced, with a very, very reduced volume of training, maybe 1 hour a day, just pretty unstructured, and that's the key, you know. Our lives are very regimented, very structured, so it's really nice after Hawaii not to have that structure in place and just think I'll go out and do a mountain bike, I'll go hiking with my mum and dad, or just do other things that aren't necessarily swim, bike, run. And I did that for a month after Hawaii. I went to Argentina, went cycle touring for a bit there, went to my friend's wedding, and that was just great, just because it gets you out of the triathlon world for a while, and brings me back down to earth with a bump.
Just chat here.
What sort of taper do you have in the week or 2 weeks before?
Questions about tapering.
What kind of taper do I have before a race? It depends on the race. Some races I train right through. So say for Alpe d'Huez last year, I didn't rest at all. I just went straight into it. It was a training race for me. Same went for Timberman. The Ironman races, a week before, we reduce the volume, but we don't reduce the intensity. So, for example, before Hawaii, the Sunday before, I did a 2-hour run. And then from then on in,
So which day is
the race is Saturday. So what we do is we reduce the volume, but without reducing the intensity. So perhaps whereas before I'd do an hour of hill repeats, before the week before I'd do maybe 20 minutes. So you're still getting the intensity, but you haven't got the volume necessarily. And then the penultimate day, I have a rest day. So if the race is on a Sunday, Friday is a rest day. The day before the race, I do a 30-minute swim, a 30-minute run, and anything between 30 minutes and an hour on the bike. But that's all spinning. Nothing too intensive the day before. But I think a mistake that a lot of people make is to really taper off and cut down the volume so dramatically as the body goes into shutdown. But obviously the amount of training you do has got to be proportional to what you do ordinarily, because we do quite a high volume of training. If I totally cut down, then my body would wonder what on earth was up. So yeah, you maybe reduce the volume by 50% in the week before.
Yes, lady.
Will we see you at 2012?
In 2005 I said I'd never do an Ironman, so don't hold me to anything. The Olympics would be absolutely amazing to be able to get to, whether it be in triathlon, whether it be in cycling, whether it be in lawn bowls. Ironman's not going to make it there, so it would have to be in another discipline. For me, Hawaii is my Olympics. I love that race so much, and I think my talents definitely lie in the longer distances. So my focus is always going to be Hawaii. But if in a couple of years' time, I feel that I could potentially acquire the skills that I need to try and get to 2012, either in triathlon or in something else, then it's something I would work towards. But at this point in time, I'm focusing very much on defending in Hawaii.
When you say something else, what something else might that be? Sort of road racing? Or?
Yeah, potentially. But I do really need to improve my bike handling skills for road racing. The time trial potentially, but it's a bit short for what I'm used to. Lawn bowls I'm crap at, so never lawn bowls. Yeah, that would probably be the other option if it wasn't for Olympic distance triathlon.
Do you have a set routine for your recovery? So you just finished your race across the line. What do you do? Do you do the same thing every time? Or?
Straight after the race, we have drugs testing. So you go to that. Then I get some food, and usually pizza, chips, and a burger, if I can. And then I have a shower, and then I get my ass back to the finish line, because I see my job as being so much more than just performing as an athlete, and I want to be there to support everyone else. So that's what I do after the race until midnight for an Ironman, is stay on the finish line. The week after is a bit like pre-race. We start training again straight away. So maybe I'll do 3K in the pool and 30-minute run or a spin on the bike. But we do something each day for the next week, and then the training as normal resumes a week after the race. But it's incredibly important for us as professionals to recover properly, and you don't recover just by resting for a week. You know, you need to get the blood back into your muscles and clear all the crap that's accumulated, and you do that by, doing sessions that are no longer than an hour, because then it compromises your immune system. So do up to, sessions up to an hour, but include some intensity to get some sharpness back in. But that's the way in which we recover.
Do you regularly get ill? I sense the level of athlete that you are. Maybe it is always on the verge of crossing that line on the immune system.
Yeah, it's a fine line. As an athlete, you can't fear injury or illness. It is going to be part and parcel of the job because of the high volume of training that we do. But you can do things to mitigate it or prevent illness and injury from occurring. Rest is one of the most important things, making sure you get enough sleep, enough rest between sessions, obviously nutrition, but I haven't been, I've had various sick days, but not, nothing too substantial, and a couple of niggles, but again, nothing, too severe, and definitely not anything to take me out of training for too long.
So, chap over there.
As an age group, a lot of my aims are to get particular times, maybe rather than to win. Obviously, that's not what I'm going to do. I was just wondering whether, in addition to aiming to win this year in Hawaii, you're aiming to maybe get under 9 hours or break the record or anything like that. Or is it just you're aiming to win?
You've always got to have your own personal goal, and a time is as good as goal as wanting to win. For me, I race to win. And I don't make any apologies for that. But yeah, that's first and foremost what I'm striving for, and the record would come second. I'm really, really proud to have the run record at Kona now. Just to know that my name's gone down in history is really satisfying and very, very fulfilling. But to try and break the Ironman world record is not, an ultimate goal for me. But if I can get close to it, fantastic. But yeah, it's times in triathlon are so arbitrary because different courses, different conditions, different competitors. There are so many variables that can affect the time. So for me, yeah, the victory is the all important thing.
Please.
What are your views on competing against other athletes who may have in the past failed
I mean, my position on drugs is clear. I'm vehemently anti-doping. I have never taken anything, and I never will. And I put myself up with the World Anti-Doping Authority to be tested randomly throughout the year. I feel strongly that if you've deliberately taken drugs, you shouldn't be allowed to compete again. I think it's cheating, and I think it's depriving other professionals of an income. And I think it damages the sport. And I won't stand for it, and I'll use any opportunity to promote that message. So yeah, if I was, well, I have raced Nina Kraft in Kona. There's nothing I can do. She's allowed to race again, but I have no respect for her as a person or as an athlete. But the rules are the rules, and she served her penalty, as have others. But on a more positive note, I think our sport is relatively clean. I think that those that don't dope still can beat those that do. I think, compared to a lot of other sports, it's it is clean, and it's a very positive position to be in, and it's important for us as professionals to stand up and to do what we can to make sure that the testing is as rigorous and as consistent as it can be, because it can be improved. There's no compulsory testing at every Ironman race. I mean, some Ironman races, the pros are tested, some they aren't. I was tested blood and urine at Frankfurt last year, in Australia, and of course in Hawaii. But other Ironman races, you don't have to be tested, and I think it should be compulsory at every race that you are. But that's something that I'm campaigning for, and I'm speaking to the people at Ironman about. I think it's incredibly important, because we need to do as much as we can to make sure that the sport is as clean as possible for the pros and for the amateurs.
So do you follow, just to follow up on that, do you follow the same programs like the Olympic athletes, like with the whereabouts program? Do you have to fill in where you are for a certain amount?
Yeah, as an Ironman athlete, you don't have to sign up to that program at all. Right. Because we're not an Olympic sport, you're not subject to it. But I've voluntarily put myself forward. So yeah, what I have to do is, for 1 hour of each day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, I have to tell them where I'm going to be. And they can come and test you wherever.
Here?
It was 6:30 till 7:30 this morning, so they might not turn up
right.
here. But yeah, I mean, I was tested 5 times out of competition.
Right.
Last year.
Is that mainly urine rather than blood? Because I know people were trying to push for more blood tests.
Yeah, that was all urine. If they do blood tests, they have to bring 2 people along, right, and obviously the process is a lot more involved and time and resource intensive. So no, I haven't been blood tested, but I could be. Any time of the year, and I think it is important, because it's out of competition where people are using the stuff. It's not in competition. So I would encourage as many pro Ironman athletes as possible to sign up to the WADA process.
That chap there.
Between when you change from when you won the age group world championships to winning the Ironman world championships, did you struggle much for funding, or did you have everything?
Yeah, I did, and it's incredibly difficult for people, age groupers that want to turn professional. There's very little financial support out there for them to do that, and I was in that position. I saved up money from my job, and basically took that risk. I knew that I could survive pretty much for a year and then I'd be really scraping the barrel. So luckily for me, I won Hawaii that first year, which gave me a little bit of a financial cushion, which was lovely. But the majority of Ironman athletes are not in that position. You know, it's not a high earning sport, and I know Ironman athletes that, you know, are winning Ironman and still having to work part-time to be able to support themselves and their families. So yeah, it is incredibly tough, especially for age groupers that want to break into the sport, but we don't do it for the money. So yeah, but it is difficult. I was a swimmer as a kid, but I wasn't that good. I was just trained for my local club and did local galas, but nothing spectacular. Didn't set the world alight. Then I went to university and took up drinking. Boozing biceps were very big. Then I went travelling for 2 years, and sport came to a total halt then. And then I did my MA in Manchester, and that's when I started running. And I'd run at school a little bit when I was in Australia, but not a lot. And I just 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and started building up. And I just found it was something I really enjoyed, something I was quite good at. And I did the London Marathon in 2002, 3:08. And then I started swimming again, and then someone, a guy called Paul Robertshaw at the Brat Club, said to me in 2004, I went to a Brat Club session, the Birmingham Running and Triathlon Club, a Brat Club swim session. My friend was a member there, and he said to me, oh, you should do triathlon. I said, I didn't know anything about triathlon, never sat on a road bike, and within a few months I bought a second-hand road bike, did my first triathlon at Eton Super Sprint, and never really looked back. But it was from really humble beginnings. I just started, doing bits and bats of different sports. But yeah, I only really found triathlon in 2004.
It's the last couple of questions now, I'm afraid. Chap at the back first.
Yeah, so before you came into triathlon professionally, how did you manage your training? You just said there you just sort of started trying to do triathlon. So I assume up to that point, it was just, I fancy doing a triathlon, so I'm going to do it. At what point were you professionally managed, and before then, how did you manage your training?
I made it up as I went along initially. And then, that was in 2004, so yeah, I pretty much made it up as I went along. Then I went to live in Nepal for a year and a half, and there I ran and mountain biked every day, and I just set my own program, which was go biking in the mountains before work. And that was as simple as as it got. And it was really then that I think I realised that I was stronger at the endurance sports, and really, strong over like 7 or 8 hours of biking in the mountains in the weekend. And it made me a bit more determined to, when I got back to the UK in 2006, to give triathlon a go, and that's when I got a coach. So that's how my program was managed with my job in 2006 was with the help of a coach.
Right, final question, please, lady.
Pardon? Not really. Well, the only weight work I do is using a band, but what do you call it? Yeah, the bands just for resistance work for the pool. But no, I mean, we try as much as we can to incorporate the strength work into each session. So, for example, if you're swimming, you use paddles, and that's strength work in the pool. It's as good as lifting weights anywhere. So you do that for your strength work in the pool, and I have a band around my ankles as well. On the bike and the run, hill repeats. The best strength work you can possibly do. But you know, everyone's individual, so I think people will benefit from very targeted strength training, but just going into the gym and doing all this malarkey, you know, is not going to help you. I think it needs to be definitely targeted to you, so that you don't spend lots of your very valuable time doing work that's really not going to benefit you.
Oh, go on then, last one.
Chrissie, just after you've smashed Colin Newby Fraser's record wins in Kona, and after you deservedly win BBC Sports Personality, because let's get you nominated, what do you want to do in quote retirement?
Lawn bowls. No, well, I mean, post triathlon, I still want to be very much involved in the sport. I really want to get into adventure racing. Doing multi-day racing is something that I'm really interested in. Doing some bonkers endurance challenges really does appeal to me. I also love cycle touring, so I would take some time out to cycle tour around a couple of continents. But as many people, a couple. No, my friend cycled from Singapore to France. I think it was amazing. I've always always wanted to do something like that. But you know, people that know me know that I'm really interested in development work, and that's something I'm still involved in right now, and something that I will hopefully be more heavily involved with in the future. I'm trying to feed into 2012 Olympics to make sure that there's a legacy rather than just a lot of stadiums that are filled up and then go to waste, so that they really integrate sport right at the grassroots level. So I'm speaking to the GLA about how I can feed in to that process, which they've been quite open about, which is very good. I'm also trying to establish with some people in San Diego a new organisation called Go Tribal, which is about inspiring women and girls to get into the sport, and establishes a mentoring system whereby more experienced female athletes can mentor new women, and so it snowballs, and try and get a global women-only race series up and running as well. So that's something that I'm involved in, as well as a couple of charities, and something that I can definitely will definitely work on after triathlon's over and done with as well.
Brilliant. Well, we could be here all day, but
I just want to finish off by thanking so many people for coming, and thanks also for your incredible support. I get so many messages via my website to encourage me and motivate me in races and throughout the year, and it really, really does mean a hell of a lot to me, and I'm really, really grateful, and I'm so pleased that I had the opportunity to come here and meet some of you, talk to you. I'll be mingling around for the rest of the day, so feel free to just come up and say hello. But yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all your support, and all the very best for 2009 and beyond. And I hope this year I can continue to fly the flag for GB. Cheers.